Stephen pointed out that the typo on line 9 in the server.js file should be a lowercase s and not an uppercase s. So if you have an uppercase s, please change that to a lowercase send file. Could you get the door, please? Thank you. All right, so I just have the index.html file pulled up now for our lab assignment. And if we look at our two links, do you have a question, Dylan?
Yeah, so I have like the server started on port 3000, and then it's kind of like still running. Should I keep it running?
Oh, you can Control C to quit for now, yeah.
But would that be like how live server is running?
Exactly. Then you could go to localhost 3000 and pick up on it. There's another helpful tool if you don't want to have to keep killing your server, so to speak. So like with live server, we get the ability to immediately restart the server. If you want to have a similar functionality with Node, there's an app called Nodemon or Node Daemon, however you want to pronounce it. So if you don't have it, you can npm i-g or sudo npm i-g Nodemon, which will give you the access to simply run that command within your starter code, and it'll restart your server for you instead of having to kill the node server each time.
So when you run server.js, it'll start the server.
So once you have it, you can just type Nodemon, and now it's just watching for any changes. So anytime you make a change, all you have to do is refresh your page, and you don't have to worry about closing this out. Another helpful trick when you're developing with a server is to have a different window or a different tab. So I use iTerm, which allows me to split my panes pretty effectively. So I can command Shift D or Command D to get different windows up. So we can close that, and we'll go back to our code. So with links, with our home and our about, notice we have our href values as / for home and / about for each one. So this is what we'll be using to pick up on within our file. Now our first to-do in index.html says to link our new page.js library within vendors. So we have that file in here already. We just need to add the proper script file within our vendors section, our vendor files. And then the next to-do says to place our controller files here. So we want to have a section called controller files for us to be able to then place the links to those, right? Because we have our file structure for our controllers, and specifically we have an about controller, we have an article controller, and we have our routes. So these are the three primary files we'll be working on once we've actually incorporated those or added those into our index file, we need references to these new controller files. And the functionality is going to be pretty straightforward. So let's look back at our article view.js file. So this is what we're actually going to be removing from our application. This jQuery functionality is going to be wiped clean. So instead of clicking on a tab and just showing the content, we want to click on the link, have it update the page, and then do everything for us. So the two pieces for that are going to be here in our controller. So this is where we're just setting up the functionality for that controller. So we want to reveal only the about section, just like we did here, except instead of picking up on that about section dynamically, we want to explicitly reveal just that about section right here for this controller, for this about controller. And if we go to routes.js, part of configuring that route will be here, where we actually invoke page. So we're going to invoke page and pick up on two routes, the home and the about. For the stretch goal, you will also have a third one in here for the admin section. But just to start, it'll be the home page, it'll be the about page. And just like our page demo showcased, we have the URL that we want to pick up on, and then the function that we want to call once we hit that URL. I'm going to move this one up. We'll do one together. Done. Okay, so that'll start us off, and I'll leave the rest up to you and your partner,
Which I have not done yet.
which we got time to get those out.
What file was it in?
This is in routes.js. So this will be our router. This is our client-side router with page. So initially we set up the page invocation, and then we'll have a couple routes to register, our home and our about, which once they pick up on that URL, then we'll fire off or invoke the function that are associated with our controller files.
My file was different. I'm wondering if I come out the right version.
Yeah, we can check on that. Yeah, but once I make all these changes, I'll push them up, and then we can just pull it down. So if you need to wipe it clean, you can do that. So here's our about controller, but we also have an article controller, which has an index method on it. And this is going to be just like the about, but we want to reveal only the article section. So just to be clear, we can still use jQuery within here to be able to hide and show what we need to hide and show, but it's going to be a little bit cleaner, and it's going to be a little bit more organized now. So this to do, if we go back into article view.js, on line 29, it says once the routes are handling the home and the /about, we can delete this handle main nav function because we've extracted the pieces for that in our controller files. So all of this can go away. And the last to do says, remember to also remove any calls to handle main nav function elsewhere. So we triggered it initially, but now we don't need it. So we can remove that. Now for the assignment tonight, in terms of the portfolio, all we want to see is just some similar functionality. Being able to pick up on any links that you have and utilizing Page to register those links and responding to those links by removing any jQuery that you might have had out in the open and putting that logic into an actual controller file. So it's pretty straightforward for today. What questions do you have so far?
I'm a bit confused about what this page JS.
It's a vendor file. It's a vendor file. So we just,
What's happening?
the page JS, you just.
It
you'll
keeps
find
getting
in your
referred to.
vendor. It's a vendor file.
Right, but yeah,
Oh, like what? Oh, what
Use
page?
page
What
to
page
page.
actually is?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nothing more than a library that will route particular URLs. So think of it as like
It's a JavaScript library.
it's a JavaScript library. Think of it in terms of just being able to intercept routing. So when we click on /about, normally if we didn't have page and we clicked on that link that had an href value of just /about, it's going to be like
So it's doing all of that routing for us.
exactly.
Like that's how it.
Yeah. Good question. No,
I
that's
think I missed that at the start.
Yeah,
yeah, like breaking it down. What actually is page?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good question though. Thank you for bringing that up because I'm sure other people had similar questions. Yep.
So these are all examples of client-side routing?
Yeah.
I guess I know I should probably know the difference, but I'm confused about the client-side routing and the server-side routing.
So confused about all of it. Just in terms of like, I mean, I think I can make it work.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I
I
don't
guess
really
it's the
understand
whole
all that.
abstract of what exactly is going on, because to be honest, like the serving thing, I just sort of get, I'm not really sure what it is.
Oh, I want to reach for the marker right now. Okay.
Not to like go back 20 years.
No. This is.
I figured that we were kind of, we would get a grasp of it after working with it, so I feel like I have a long ways to go before I really understand it
And I'm
all.
glad everybody has this.
Okay, so with a server, how do I want to do this? Let's just keep it really simple. So we have our web request response cycle. Anytime we request a new file, so say we had an about .html, we would need to generate a literal new request for new content. So anytime we need to make a literal new request, we have to kick off that request response cycle. 3 parts, back and forth. Whoa. With our client, we already have the majority of the information that we need. Therefore, we can quickly quickly generate that content. So we're improving the performance of this by not having to make that request out to a server for that content because it's already there. And we're being able to use Page to essentially be our router, which the only thing that router is doing is intercepting the URL and then passing that off to our controller. And in this case, those are going to be our 2 controller files that we have now in our controllers directory, the articles controller and the about controller. And the only thing the controller does is just incorporate some functionality that only gets triggered when that matching URL is handled, which Page will do for us, and then it'll send that off. It'll send that off to the controller. So here's Page. It picks up on the home, and then it's going to trigger the function. I'm not going to give away the answer. To then actually invoke some event. Ah.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
Hotkeys. Okay. What other questions do we have?
Do we use page with React, or is it another popular choice?
I'm going to defer to Gio on that.
There are a couple of options. Another popular one I believe is called SAMMY, SAMMY. And then a lot of like client-side frameworks that you can work with later, like Angular and React and stuff, have their own routing libraries that work specifically with them.
Oh, React has one.
Not an official one, but it has ones that are built specifically
I
to
see.
work with that.
Yeah. So in this case, we're kind of just utilizing different components like Page and Handlebars, but there are some frameworks that incorporate many of these concepts and kind of bundle out this similar functionality. Any other questions? About what Page is and what Page can do for you? We're gonna dive a little bit deeper on Thursday into what Page can do, because we're gonna be able to expose function chaining to be able to specify even greater control in terms of what our application can do. So when one function completes, we can go to the next function, and how we handle those in terms of larger applications.
Oh, I have another question. Might not be related to this, but at the function placeholder there, so we pass in a function name,
Right.
and so we do that without the parentheses, so that we're not invoked.
It's the reference function.
Yep. Yeah, this will be think of it as another callback.
Mhm.
So we only want to invoke this once we've actually handled this route.
Yeah.
So what Page is doing internally is it's going to be actually invoking this function for us.
So I guess my question is that, let's say that callback function, I need to pass another parameter to that. So how do we do it?
Anonymous function and then call it inside the anonymous.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, so this will actually be,
Is the name function?
yeah, you will actually put a named function in here.
But you can't pass parameters, right, without invoking.
Yeah. So I just wonder if there's a way to like put a name function there and also at the same time pass a parameter to that.
Right. In your function definition, you could do that. So without getting too far ahead, if we, let's say this is the function we wanted to pass in a Page, which it is. This is our definition, so we can attach any parameters that we want to in here, which on Thursday we will. We will actually attach two parameters that Page can pick up on, and that's CTX and next. And what those two are is essentially the context object and also the next function that we want to run. So if we wanted to actually change the functions, we can pass those into the parameters within the function definition. And then when we call these functions in Page, that's all we have to do. And then once they actually step into them, they will have access to those parameters.
And if you read the Page.js documentation, it's really great and has lots of examples for all of these things.
Yeah, and you can find that on GitHub. I believe it's under the Vision Media organization. I want to showcase some previous final projects for everyone. Report card. So you can get a good idea in terms of a decent scope for your final project assignment. So what this one did is the team decided they wanted to gather the information, pre-existing data set of information of public health inspection records for restaurants in King County. So all you have to do is begin typing in a restaurant in here. It will actually autocomplete. So as soon as you begin typing, I think it's after the first 3 characters, yep, then it starts to actually pick up on the set. So all they're using here is a jQuery plugin, and it's called jQuery UI. And this is really helpful because jQuery UI can pick up on your any data set that's within your application. You just pass it that data set in the form of like an array or an object with an array, and it'll try to essentially populate what any matching records you have. All right, so let the fun begin. What restaurant should we search for?
Greenleaf.
Ah, Greenleaf, nice. Okay, now here's something to keep in mind with this application. A higher score is not necessarily a good thing. So anytime there's marks, they actually add to it and they go against the restaurant. So let's view the full inspection history.
The markers in the wrong place.
Oh, there's one over there, so they have 2 restaurants.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, this one's for the 8th Avenue South location. So they have it in order based on most recent, and you can see any violations that have occurred. So they're just getting this information and they're appending it as they find it. So food contact surfaces maintained, clean, sanitized, accurate thermometer provided and used, raw meats below and away from ready to eat food. These are some serious violations.
It used to be worse.
Oh, yeah, wrong way.
Yeah.
So why does the score stay the same? I guess just that's what, and then it changes.
Yeah, so this was all a part of the same
Look at the
inspection.
dates. Yeah, look at the data.
So this was one inspection here.
So that's how they got the 83.
That's how they got the 83, and then the 108, 173.
Oh, continual improvement. Oh.
They are getting better.
I mean, they actually said, yeah, it's huge. I mean,
Still,
Insects,
everything above
rodents,
90. They've got like the dead symbol.
Now, okay, so within this data set, that's the only one we have access to. But this gets quite addictive, actually.
Musashi's.
What?
It's a Mexican place.
Oh, I'm sorry. How do you? Is it R-O?
F-O-G.
Oh, this is in Cap. Is this in Cap Hill?
Yeah, I actually saw Selena there one time.
I don't-
It's an O with an accent, so it might be kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
Let's try Holy Cannoli. We'll just do one more.
Oh.
Hey. Happiness. Let's take a look at the full inspection. Proper cold holding temperatures, 42 to 45, so that's a tight window. Wiping cloths properly used. So this was back in April. Yeah. Food worker cards current for all food workers. I think it's either her or just, she might have a helper, but I'm pretty sure it's just only her there.
You only get one block for workers not having food out there.
Okay, so that's one example. Let me showcase another final project. So you can kind of get an idea for this. So they have a couple links, right? About, you can click the about page here. It gives you some information, and then if you want to actually contact King County, they provide a useful link for that. This next one is essentially a tide tracker, and you can enter in. You start off with an address that you want to look at. I mean, we can just start with our base 3rd Avenue. Why are we going to California? 2901. Let me just see what comes up for Seattle. I'll just type in Seattle here. We can click Golden Gardens. It lists the most recent, if we go back here. Actually, I don't think they saved the history, otherwise that would have remained. Yeah, they haven't. So notice when we clicked on Seattle, the history object didn't get updated. See, we're still on the home page. Now, if we click Golden Gardens, we can see that this is the current level, or the most recent level based on the time update, and it also provides us a tide forecast of highs and lows, and they just inserted these images based on if it was a high forecast or a low tide forecast. So this is another example of utilizing a data set and rendering to the page the information that they wanted to display. And it's cool because they also provide a map from your current location. So this is using a geolocation service provided by Google. Now on Friday, I will showcase a basic Google Maps tutorial on setting up a responsive Google Maps interface for your application, since a lot of teams like to actually use Google Maps. So I feel like it's a good demo to incorporate for this class. Let's see. Spot about Hanabiera. I'll showcase one more. This one's very, very, woo! Look how big those are. Let me refresh that. Wow, those markers, why is it? Anyways, so this is called Snap To It, and what this application was designed for are for those who are part of the SNAP program, or like it's kind of a food stamp service where you can find participating locations near you to be able to access and utilize those. And off to the side here, they showcase the nearest ones. So here's Rama Deli and Market, the 7-Eleven on Denny, the Rite Aid on 3rd. And you can click on one, it'll update your location. And then you can even see reviews that other users have left here. So they're utilizing a database to be able to save these reviews and then retrieve them. And they have a nice little slide so you can actually kind of extract those away. I don't know why it's behaving like that. That's a little bit better. Now notice in the left-hand side, the lower left corner here, we have a modal pop-up. Yeah, there's something going on with their site right now. It's not rendering as it should. I should probably check the console for
It's working better on my.
Gesundheit. Yeah, I think I have some visual settings that are being affected right now. Yeah. But anyways, this is you can see how useful this would be for a user, assuming that the rendering occurred as it should. Now we're running out of time for today, but I have the final project rubric in the Class 11 folder, so you can actually take a look at that, and then we'll probably go over that later on this week at some point, just to kind of step through so you know exactly what's to be expected for your final projects. If it's any indication from past projects, everyone does really well. I think the overall average from the past three 301s has fallen around 90 out of 100, so you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Just have fun and make some cool apps.
You see that model there a lot.
Yeah, this little
Yeah.
a little drawer, a little CSS drawer. Yeah, there's some good tutorials actually available to make something like this. It's really not that complicated.
Yeah, it looks like You know, the grocery stores have reward programs, you know, so you buy
Yeah.
gas rewards. I was doing a lot of buying for the boat, so I had these huge gas rewards.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know where's the nearest place, because I need to fill up, where I can use these gas rewards. And I got a site that looked just like that on my phone.
So they also have a little autocomplete right in here. Now they actually mocked this up. They created a good wireframe, and it's really, really helpful when you're first forming these projects to get a good solid wireframe, not only for desktop application but then also mobile. So we don't want to forget our mobile first. That's something that we're going to be checking
What
for.
map is that?
This should just be a Google.
That is Google?
This is Google Maps. Yeah. So the one that I'll showcase in the demo on Friday will provide an example features. There's like a features options that you can pass in, so that you don't get a typical, what people normally consider to be a typical Google map, where it's just like, you know, plain colors, and you can make it look a little bit customized.
And those markers are all different sizes.
I think it's just. I literally think it's just my application. I'll actually the link for a few of these are also in the Class 11 folder, so you can take a look at not only their deployed site, but you can take a look at their code on GitHub. I have two links available. I have a link to the GitHub, and I have a link to their deployed application too. Any questions? Thumb meters. Just anything, Monday. General thumb meters. Cool. Be cool if we could get like everybody to have like a thumb meter, like just like hovering over us, and then we could just immediately be like, all right, just map to that.
Somebody needs to build a thumb meter app.
Yeah, hook it up to the brainwaves.
Your biofeedback thumb meter app.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. All right.
I agree.
Well, with that, we'll break for lunch.